Hi guys, welcome to Lex Talks Dubai. In today's episode, we will speak about real estate laws, specifically about real estate buying. And today I have with me Muhammad, who is a real estate broker at Lex Estates, which is a member of our group of companies. And Muhammad came today with commonly asked questions by his clients in relation to buying a property in Dubai, and I will try to cover from the legal perspective and also some practical tips from Muhammad. So Muhammad, welcome to our channel, welcome to this episode.
Thank you so much.
And I'll be happy to answer your questions. And so let's start.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you for having me. So I came with a lot of questions, and I really want this to be answered from the legal perspective. So I've been dealing with different types of investors for the last 6 years, and I've been asked a lot of legal questions, and I had to depend on my own knowledge and on some experts' knowledge, which I know is, when investors make a decision to buy the property, we get to the point of signing SPA, which is seller and purchase agreement. Sometimes when investors, when they review the SPA, they have some concerns to change the SPA where the developer or the building owner might reject to change. So in this stage, what kind of suggestion do you make?
So as I understand, you are referring to the SPA from developers.
From developers
so
on the off-plan.
primary market.
Primary market, exactly.
For buying an off-plan property,
Exactly.
let's say. This SPA is between a developer and the buyer.
Yeah.
And the investor, let's say.
Yeah.
Usually developers, they have their standard SPA,
Yeah.
which most of the time they're not ready to change.
Okay.
Unless, the investor is buying a huge stock, let's say.
Okay.
Maybe then developer go to some sort of negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
But if, buyer is buying one unit or couple of units, because of that, the developer is not ready to change their SPA template.
Mm-hmm.
And the SPAs are basically pretty standard.
Okay.
And of course, it's buyer's right to accept it or reject it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the buyer is not willing to accept those terms, and if he doesn't like those terms, then he wouldn't just proceed with the sale.
Understood.
The same thing if the developers, they feel a big potential in that deal. If the buyer is buying huge stock or the whole building, or let's say if they see this deal interesting, they may then go for the negotiation and change the SPA terms. So it's completely up to the parties.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but in our practice, we know developers, they don't change the SPA.
Understood.
Yes.
Understood. Yeah, that is very important to know because, to be honest, not all the investors, they read the entire SPA, to be honest with you. Most of them, they just look at the completion, the payment schedule, and then they sign. But sometimes we have some people who, request for some kind of change or some addition. So now you answered the question.
Yeah, usually the developers, of course, they cannot go beyond the law.
Yeah.
So the SPA is within the law.
Okay.
And of course, there are certain points which gives flexibility to the developer, and the buyers need to pay attention to those points.
Okay.
But most of the terms are standard within the law. The point that I mentioned that gives flexibility to developers is delaying the handover.
Okay.
So in most of the cases, developers, they get a right to extend the handover date to 1 year, 2 years.
Okay.
So this has to be checked.
Okay.
And if the buyer is ready to take such a risk,
Okay.
and it's very common, developers, they may hand over not on the exact date.
Yeah.
They may hand over after 6 months.
Exactly.
Or after 1 month. And most of the well-known, well-established developers, they stick to this timeline.
Yes.
But it happens in practice. Some developers, they delay for 1 year, 2 years.
Okay.
So this point has to be checked by the buyers.
Okay. Understood.
Because some developer contracts may give them the right to extend even to 3 years
I see.
or without any penalty.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
this this is important for the
Okay.
buyer to understand before going to this deal.
Okay,
If he's ready to take such risk, then he can go for it. If he's not ready to take such risk, then of course he's free to choose any other property where the developer offers more favorable
Understand.
terms.
Understand.
Yeah.
Understand. Another thing, since COVID hit 2020, a lot of people got used to working remotely, got used to dealing the business transactions remotely. So the same like property transactions also actively grown since 2020. So as we all know that, buying a property in Dubai remotely is possible. Just I wanted to know from your perspective, legal perspective, what are the areas they should focus on? Of course, one of the parties, you said SPA, but what other terms or points they should consider when they are buying remotely the property?
In terms of legality, it's absolutely possible to buy a property without coming to Dubai.
Yeah.
Especially if you are dealing with a developer, because developers, they have this procedure which can be handled online.
Yeah.
The contract can be signed remotely, and it can be exchanged through DHL or through
Yes.
couriers, the signed contracts. Payments can be done also by transferring to the account of the developer. So it's possible legally to buy property remotely without coming to Dubai.
Okay.
But whether it's the right decision or no, I think it's clients or the investor's choice.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Do you have many clients who buy property in Dubai without coming here physically?
Yes, I do have. Most of my clients who are already, bought property from me are usually, they bought remotely. They haven't come here. So basically, I've given them all the information, all the 3D designs, external, internal, the area, all the market knowledge, which you said the commercial knowledge is required, was delivered to them. So based on that understanding, based on the expected ROI and the development, so they made such investments. Of course, most of the project which they invested already completed, and some of them are coming up. So as we know, when investors buy a property off plan, they make a payment basically to a developer. We know that this payment goes to the escrow account. The escrow account usually managed by the Dubai Government Authority and
Dubai Land Department.
Dubai Land Department
Regulates this escrow, yes.
Exactly. Can you tell me when, for example, the developer has right to withdraw these funds from the escrow account?
The escrow is a very big step that was taken by the Dubai Land Department to protect the investors from fraud, from scammers. So the money they pay has to go to the escrow account, which is basically controlled by Dubai Land Department. So when they make a payment, they need to make sure that it goes to the escrow. Okay. It will say it's an escrow account.
Exactly.
Right? So the developer has a right to withdraw funds based on the construction stage.
Okay.
So they will not have access to full amount until they complete the construction.
Okay.
So this way, government makes sure that developer, they deliver the projects in order to get full access to the funds.
Okay.
And during the construction, based on the construction percentage, the land department release funds to the developer. Okay. So it goes with the stage of construction, and the amount of money they can withdraw will depend on this.
Understood.
Yeah.
It's clear. So another question which I'm usually asked when buying a secondary market property, which is a ready property. Of course, off-plan already comes with a payment plan and has a post-handover payment plan, some of them, which is already, flexible in terms of payment.
Yeah, so the process of buying a property in secondary market is completely different than buying off-plan.
Yeah.
In secondary market, the person has to be physically here, or he needs to appoint someone with a power of attorney.
Yeah.
And the transfer happens at the trustee office, where the parties need to be present, and the seller has to be present, or seller's representative, and buyer or buyer's representative has to be present, and the payment has to be done through manager check.
Yes.
So this is in normal scenario. But when it's mortgage involved, then of course after the parties enter into agreement, then there is a mortgage approval process. If the buyer wants to secure a mortgage from the bank checks the buyer's profile, if he's able to pay based on his bank statements, whether he's employed, whether he's a self-employed, based on his income type, the bank then can decide whether they will give the mortgage or no. So if the mortgage is approved, then in a trustee office there will be three parties, basically seller, buyer, and the bank's representative.
Yeah.
And the bank will basically pay on behalf of the buyer to the seller, also through manager check.
I see.
Yes. So we can speak in our next episodes probably more about the process of mortgage, what are the requirements and how the buyers can secure a mortgage.
Okay.
But generally speaking, yes, this is a process.
So, all right, thank you so much. It's very clear about the mortgage. So my last question would be for today is if you can give me top 3 tips for buyers, for investors before buying the property in Dubai.
Number 1 tip, deal with the right broker who has a license and enough knowledge and experience in the market. Number 2, deal with the right developers who are well established, who are trusted, and who can deliver the property on time with the same qualities that's mentioned in the contract. And number 3 is, of course, understand your rights and obligations. It's very important because when you buy a property and if you don't follow the contract terms, you may end up losing the payments that you make. So it's very important to understand your rights and obligations at the same time when you buy a property.
Clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for watching this video. In next episodes, we will speak more about real estate laws and regulations. So follow us, subscribe, and if you have any questions, you can comment in the comment section, and we will also try to cover your questions in the next episodes.